Will had been nervous about meeting Carson, the landowner of Camp Toby. The man stood tall, weathered by years of hard work, his presence both steady and sharp. Carson's eyes softened as he looked at the cabins. "Will, do you even know the real story behind this place?" "Sam's story." Will shook his head. "No, he never told me." Carson let out a long breath. "This camp wasn't always what you see now. Sam renamed it after his brother, Toby. Toby came back into Sam's life after 11 years, but he was already broken. Drugs had chewed him up. Sam's ABDL family, John, Alan, and Liam, they tried to help both brothers reconnect here." Will leaned in, unsure if he wanted to hear more. One night, Carson said quietly, a camper found Toby hanging from a rope, tied to a beam in the bunkhouse near the office. Sam was crushed. After that, he started a rehab program in Toby's name, but it didn't last. Got shut down. Carson's voice caught, but he steadied himself. "What's left now, Will? This camp is all that remains of his brother." Will's chest tightened. "He never told me any of this." Carson looked at him firmly. "Why would he, son? Some wounds run too deep to share." Later that evening, Mark found him sitting alone on the porch steps. He sat down beside him, letting the quiet settle before speaking. "Bro," Mark said softly, nudging his shoulder, "I know why you want to take over. Because you think Sam's a crappy camp director. And maybe you're right." Will looked at him, surprised by the bluntness. "But think about this for a second," Mark continued. "Pretend I'm Toby and you're Sam. Would you just give this place up? Walk away from the only thing that holds his memory together?" Will's breath caught. The question hit harder than he expected. Mark leaned closer, his voice low but steady. "You keep saying this camp needs someone better. But it doesn't just need better, it needs someone who understands why it exists in the first place. Can you carry that, Will? Can you hold what Sam couldn't let go of?" Will didn't answer right away. The weight of the story, of Sam's hidden pain, and now Mark's challenge, all of it pressed down on him, asking for more than just leadership. It was asking for heart. "I just want to do right for these kids," Will said, his voice breaking with honesty. Mark nodded. "Then tell him that. Tell Sam straight." Neither of them realized Sam was nearby until he stepped forward from the shadows, his face pale. He had heard every word. "Come with me, both of you," Sam said quietly, his tone firm but not angry. Mark wheeled beside Will as they followed Sam down the dim path toward the oldest cabin on the grounds. The boards creaked beneath their wheels and shoes, a sound that echoed louder in the silence of night. They stopped at the heavy wooden door marked "Staff Only." Sam hesitated, his hand resting on the worn handle. This is where it happened," he whispered. "The night I lost Toby." He pushed the door open slowly. The smell of old wood and dust filled the air. The bunk room was cold, untouched for years, its shadows clinging to every corner. Sam and Will sat there together in their wheelchairs, facing the place that held the deepest scar of the camp. For a moment, no one spoke. The silence carried the weight of Toby's ghost, of promises broken, and of the fragile future that still lingered in the air. The silence pressed heavy. The three of them sat together, the air thick with memories. Sam finally broke it. His voice was low, rough. "You guys wonder why every camper has a buddy. Even the older kids who can handle themselves, right?" Will nodded. "Yeah. I always thought it was just tradition." Sam swallowed hard. "It's not tradition. It's because an 11-year-old boy found my brother. He walked into this room one night and saw Toby hanging. That kid never spoke again. Never came back here. And every year since, I call to check on him. Just to see if he's okay." Mark's mouth fell open. Will's chest tightened, the weight of the story cutting deep. Sam's eyes burned with tired fire. "That was before I was camp director. Back when I thought I could keep my own world together. But when I stepped up, I swore I'd never let a kid here feel alone like that again. That's why I push the buddy system. That's why I try to do the best damn job I can, even if it looks messy. Every morning I wake up and tell myself, don't fail them. Not again. His hand tightened on the armrest of his wheelchair. I won't take this place down. Not ever. Because every creak of these walls tells me to do better. Sam rubbed his face with both hands, his voice low and unsteady. Will. Carson told me straight. He said I could step down if I chose to. No one's forcing me to stay director. But the truth is, I never had a real choice. Will tilted his head. Why not? Sam sighed. Because I knew if I stepped aside, I'd have to try to buy Carson out. And he'd never sell. Not for any price. That's why I rent this land instead of owning it. Every year I scrape by, pouring everything into keeping this place alive. Mark frowned. So you've been holding all this together? On borrowed ground. Sam nodded, eyes damp but burning with stubborn fire. This camp, this land, it's not just dirt and cabins. It's Toby. It's the kids who come here scared and leave feeling like family. It's the only good thing I've built out of a lifetime of mistakes. If I gave it up, it'd be like burying him all over again. The door creaked again. Liam stepped into the bunkhouse, his face puzzled. Why are you all in here? He asked, looking between Sam, Will, and Mark. Sam's shoulders slumped. Carson told them. About Toby. Liam froze in the doorway, his eyes softening. He nodded slowly, like he'd been waiting years for this moment. Mark glanced at Sam, then back at Liam. So that's why he fights so hard to keep this place. That's why he won't let go. Sam's jaw tightened. Yeah. That's exactly why. Every nail in these walls, every rule I push, everybody I assign, it's all because I couldn't save him. This camp. It's what's left of my brother. I can't let it go. The next morning, Will wheeled himself over to his phone, determination set in his eyes. I need to call my lawyer, he said to Mark and Liam. Tell the judge I want to cancel my request to become the new camp director of Camp Toby. Mark raised an eyebrow. Wait. Really? After everything we talked about? Will nodded firmly. Yes. Sam's been carrying this camp on his shoulders for years. He knows the history, he knows the kids, and he's done more for this place than anyone else could. I just want to help him, not replace him. Liam smiled softly. That's actually really mature, Will. Shows you're here for the right reasons. Will dialed his lawyer, his hand steady on the phone. Hello. Yes, this is William. I'm calling about the Camp Toby case. I'd like to formally withdraw my request to take over as camp director. As the words left his mouth, a weight lifted. Not just from the legal decision, but from the promise he had made, to honor Sam, to honor Toby, and to do right by every camper who walked through those doors. Liam rolled into the room, a small smile on his face. I just heard. Thank you, Will. Will shrugged, leaning back in his wheelchair. You know. I didn't do this for Sam. I did it for the kids. All of them. Liam chuckled softly, shaking his head. Yeah. I know. But let's be honest, Sam's still an asshole, you know that, right? Will laughed, a short, relieved sound. Yeah. I know. That hasn't changed. You're still doing the right thing, Liam said, nodding. Even if Sam drives everyone crazy sometimes. Will smiled, feeling the weight of the camp lift just a little. Thanks, Liam. That means a lot. Weeks later the sun rose over Camp Toby, casting warm light on the cabins, the playground, and the quiet paths that wound through the trees. Sam wheeled through the grounds, clipboard in hand, running the camp his way, structured, protective, but softer where he knew the kids needed it. Will moved steadily along the edge of the new construction site, supervising the building of the new step that would make the cabins safer for everyone. His hands were busy, but his heart lighter. He knew he wasn't in charge of the camp, and he didn't need to be. He was building, supporting, and caring in his own way. Mark laughed from nearby, helping a camper with a tricky knot. Looks like this place is finally running like it's supposed to. Liam, walking confidently beside them now, grinned. And Sam's still stubborn as ever. But he's good at this, you know. Will smiled, watching the campers run and laugh, buddies paired up, safe and happy. Yeah. This is what matters. The kids. That's why we're here. Later that week, Will sat in his wheelchair near the campfire, the smell of pine and smoke in the air. He pulled out his phone and dialed one of the younger campers who'd struggled with independence. Hey. It's Will, he said warmly. Just wanted to check in. How's your week going? On the other end, the camper's shy voice responded, but with a little spark of excitement. I tried the swing today, and I didn't fall. Will grinned, pride bubbling up. See? That's amazing. I'm so proud of you. Remember, it's okay to ask for help, everyone here has a buddy, just like you. As he hung up, Mark rolled up beside him. You know, you've got a knack for this part too. Will nodded, looking around at the happy campers playing and learning, at Sam running the camp with steady care, and at Liam walking confidently nearby. Yeah. It feels right. Not about being in charge. Just being here for them. The sun dipped lower, casting long, warm shadows across the camp. For the first time in a long while, Will felt truly at peace, knowing that Camp Toby wasn't just surviving. It was thriving, full of care, growth, and the kind of family that didn't have to be perfect to be real. And somewhere, in every corner of the camp, the memory of Toby lived on, not as pain, but as a quiet reminder of why love, support, and understanding mattered most.